Hello, everybody, welcome. I'm your friendly neighborhood game master, Zach Hall, with a dev diary on my Stargate 2D20 hack. This one's a little loose, though I do have some things to share that I'm excited about. But just kind of like, hey, I'm still working on this and excited to show it to folks eventually. We'll get there. Yeah, let's jump right in. The first thing is that I have basically reworked another version of skills, my skills list. After more thought, after feeling really conflicted about separating out things like history, science, and technology, trying to figure out ways to both stay true to the types of characters and the things that they do most often, most common kind of characters, and what keeps the game simple and moving quickly. I've opted, and I'm currently running with this list of skills here that you can see I so passionately named another skill list. But you can see the different variations that I've gone through. The column on the far left is the 6 skills that are listed default in the 2D20 SRD. Then the expanded skill list went from 6 to 10, split up fight into melee and ranged separately, split up know into history and science and kind of technology. Talk got separated into command and deceive, and operate kind of just became pilot. This one I did not stick with long, didn't like it. 8 skill lists is what I've spent the most time on, probably a month of working on this off and on, where melee and range got recombined. Fight just basically, so it's basically fight just renamed to combat. Move is the same, just renamed to movement. Know is still history and science separated out. Talk is separated out into command and deceive. Survive is survive. Operate became technology. And then I've basically gotten back to a 6 skill list, just like what's offered in the SRD, and it's basically just renamed. Fight is combat, move is movement, know is knowledge, talk is communication, survive is survival, operate is technology. At one point I had knowledge renamed academics. I kept trying to find a word for both history and linguistics and social sciences and like the hard and applied sciences, and that so often are a big, or they're at least a big part of SG1. But what I realized is that often those are usually all coming from the same character, or if they need something really specific information, it's coming from research, extended tasks, might even be coming from a like episode guest star NPC that specializes in something like that. And so I've basically just gone back to what the SRD offered and just renamed a few things to fit my language better. I don't like the verb tense of like fight, move, know. But yeah, so it feels like it's easy to feel like I'm taking a step backwards, or that there was a lot of wasted work and energy. I'm choosing to spin it as, did I come full circle? Yes, but I needed to explore the other parts of the circle to know if I was happy. And I think I'm happy. I am happy enough to essentially be, moving forward and beginning to work on talents, which was the last big thing. And so we've got talents, and, the reason why I needed to settle on skills, and the reason why I was working on talents, figuring out which talents went with which skill. And when I realized a lot of them were repetitive, I had a lot of talents that requires history or science, and you could pick one. And so I was like, you know what, let's just combine these two and really rely on focuses, where if you've got a historian, but not a, what am I trying to say? If you've got a historian, but not a applied science person, they would still have the same high knowledge score, but they would just focus heavily in history. And maybe we work in some guidance for GMs to lock, certain things behind, like requiring a focus to even be able to, attempt to obtain information, what have you, if we wanted to go that route. But here's a list of talents. I didn't even count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 36 talent. Damn, I didn't realize I did that many. Some of these are like the very basic ones that are all like even included in the SRD. Advisor, bold, cautious, collaboration. These are like the heavy hitters. Usually you've got a character. Every character has a version of one of these four. Got some just general talents that don't have any kind of restrictions or requirements that might come into, that anybody could use and take advantage of, would be work for. Got a couple of like in combat general for your high combat, low communication characters. And then we have, these are 6 talents, one for each attribute that requires a certain above average score in you could take. And then we've got a larger list. These are all basically talents requiring a decently high above average score in a skill. And then at the very bottom, the last thing I did, I am not stat blocking any specific alien races for copyright reasons, but I did create some obvious parallel talents that I gave them some kind of like generic names that if you know what you're looking for, you can find, or you know what it's there for. A lot of these are basically reskinned or just the mechanics and renamed talents from other 2D20 games, which I believe is fair game. I started out naming these, trying to see if I can name them all as like Stargate quotes, and then realized that that's just being kind of annoying and a little flying too close to the sun. If I want to distribute this, the more work I do on this, the more I want to try to figure out how to put it in people's hands for free, but without having to worry about any like legal entities coming after me, whether it's Modifius or MGM/Amazon. So I'm hoping I'm doing this right. So we've got, your bad feeling when you attempt a skill test to detect a danger or hidden enemies, reduce the difficulty by 1. Stronger stuff when you avoid an injury, the cost is reduced by 1. Okay, next plan. Whenever you or an ally fails a skill test, you can add 1 point to the group's momentum pool. Take it all in, contagious confidence, giving it my all. It won't happen again when you fail at a knowledge skill test. You can add 3 to threat to create an advantage that represents knowledge or insights gained from that failure. So I tried to, be semi-creative with the talent names without being annoying. I don't particularly enjoy skills, talents, moves or whatever that feel like they're not taking themselves seriously. I get that there are games out there where it doesn't take itself seriously, and that's kind of the point. Just not for me, and definitely not something that I wanted a vibe to give off. I am taking this actually extremely seriously, probably too serious for what is going to end up being free thing that I post online. But that brings me to the last thing, which is kind of exciting, which is this. This is the beginning of like an alpha version of the rules. I've been telling myself and saying on this video that I had no intention of posting it online, that I was making this for home. We knew that wasn't the case. And even if I don't, or someone tells me, hey, you can't, like, even as much as you're avoiding putting any IP in, it's obvious that it's directly inspired by, and I'm essentially pulling from everything. There's no proper nouns. I don't have any setting information, but for my brain, this is something I'm doing for fun. I am enjoying it. This is a labor of love. I'm enjoying spending my time on this. I am creating it and putting it together as if it was going to be a product, though it will not be. I've gotten through 2 full sections, which would essentially be chapters. Relied on obviously, like, most of this is coming from the 2D20 SRD. Though, if I'm being honest, I don't know if anybody from Modifius is watching this, surely not. But the SRD is from summer of 2022, so we're coming up on 2 years, and there's some very basic, like, bad grammar or just misspellings, stuff like that, beyond just the fact that they're an English company, and so use like British, the Queen's English spelling versions of words that I wouldn't use, like bad stuff. There's also just some bad editing, like complications are called misfires or mishaps. They're called mishaps for like 3 paragraphs, and then all of a sudden everything else changes to complications as it's supposed to be. So I enjoy the formatting and like putting all this together. So I'm doing. I'm enjoying it. Like I said, I've gotten through the first 2 sections, like a overview, general, quick read that you could like hand to players, and like they could read through it, make sure they understand the basics of what's in that doc, and then move on. You could start playing. We're putting a character together. Then there's a chapter that is way more more in depth, explains more, covers more edge cases, or explains things in more detail. There are a lot of this is copy and pasted from the SRD, but I am taking the opportunity to, insert my own feelings, highlight things that I feel like are important, write sidebars, putting things together where I think it makes the most sense and is useful. And then obviously the SRD is meant for game developers. So when it comes to, I'm removing options that wouldn't be an option for my game. I'm choosing. It's exciting. Putting this together, like a first version. I don't know how I'll distribute this, if I'm being honest. Whatever makes sense and whatever will keep me, gets me in the least trouble. If that means I create a better, like more edited and focused YouTube video about it and just put published Google Doc link in the description, and that's it. Call it a day. Cool. But yeah, I'm enjoying the work I'm doing. I absolutely think now that talents are done, it could absolutely do a play test. So now it's just, am I doing this to actually like do it? Am I going to play test it? Am I going to play it and get it done? Or am I just doing this because I enjoy the writing and formatting and layout and all that stuff? So now I got to figure that out. But if there's anybody out there who has some experience playing tabletop role-playing games, or already familiar with the 2D 20 system in general, would be kind of nice and would be interested in play testing it to this video, and let me know. I might try to put something together. Wouldn't be for a few more weeks just because of scheduling and life stuff, but I try it out. Yeah, that's it. Quick little video. Just still working on it. Got a lot done. Talents was big. Starting to put together a game rules doc is a lot of work. I think, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what the minimum is that I can do that's still a complete game, gives everybody what they would need, and tells them what it's about without having to put that in writing in the document, but not putting so less in the document that like it's not worth it. Yeah. Or if anybody has any ideas and would want to collaborate, like creating a setting that is essentially Stargate, and or helping me come up with some exciting ideas for like something that isn't Stargate, but functions similarly, and we could keep the rules, I think that'd be interesting. Got to figure out how I want to play this, All right. So thanks for watching. I hope this is interesting. Let me know if you've got feedback, want to see more, be interested in playtesting, interested in collaborating. Let me know in the comments. Reach out to me on Threads at ZachHallNC. Have a good one. Peace.